Dave Campbell's Texas Football Instant Reactions from the UIL Football State Championships. We just crowned the 3A D2 champions, the Gunter Tigers, 30-14 over Tidehaven. The first repeat for Gunter, which feels weird to say.
Considering the run they've been on since 2016, it's definitely a little weird to say, but 31. The superlatives go on and on for Gunter. 31 wins in a row.
Yep.
4 titles since 2016. 6 state championships appearances since 2016. They have the state's longest winning streak now. It's a lot of good things happening in Gunter, Texas these days.
Yeah, and it looked like so let's get into what actually happened in this game, because Tidehaven came out. Played number one offense versus number one defense, right? That was kind of the matchup. But I think that, at least from our perspective, we haven't seen many people stop Gunter or slow down Gunter, right? And so I think we eventually thought that would just win out, and eventually that's what happened. But for a lot of this game, I'd say about 70% of this game, this was pretty even, right? Gunter had maybe a 1-score lead, and Tidehaven was really, really doing well with them defensively, until I probably say there was a run by Walker Overman and then a reception by Cannon Lindbergh that broke things open a little bit.
Yeah, I think for about almost 3 quarters, I'd say, till about 3 minutes left in the third quarter is when the game really flipped.
Yep.
Tidehaven kind of drug Gunter into the slop a little bit, kind of their kind of game. Exactly what they did at Dangerfield last week. They mucked it up and made Gunter play their game, and it was 17-14 with 3 minutes left in the third. The Lindbergh play, I think specifically, really broke the top open off this game, made it a 2-score game. Tidehaven kind of abandoned the run and kind of got out of character a little bit, and Gunter kind of seized momentum after that. And so that's a credit to Lindbergh. Lindbergh's a great athlete, a great player. Walker Overman, he's got that dog in him.
Yeah, man.
He's a bulldog, a pit bull at quarterback, and leads the way. And he kind of sets the tone for this Gunter team.
Yes.
And then eventually their front seven just kind of overwhelmed Tidehaven's offense.
Yeah, I believe Walker Overman finished with over 100 yards through the air, 100 yards on the ground, definitely. Joseph Dodds, running back for Tidehaven, also over 100 yards. I believe around almost 8 yards a carry, roughly. So
had a great game, but because Gunter was in the second half, especially, I think Tidehaven had less than 50 yards of offense in the second half.
Right. They tried to chase the game too when they started to get a little. The lead started to stretch a little bit, and so it got, like you mentioned, got out of their game plan, because Dodds was finding, especially down that left side, Dodds was really finding ways to getting to the edge and really kind of really giving them a look that they hadn't had all year, right? They hadn't faced an athlete like him, a Gunter hadn't, all season long.
He's impressive, and he showed why he's committed to Baylor. That long touchdown run, he made a great touchdown catch on the opening drive of the game, showed his athleticism there. He's a guy, I don't think he has, I think he's a great fit with Baylor. I don't think he has that top end gear, but I think he can get to the hole quick.
I was about to say, he didn't look tired. That was the thing. He's very workhorsey.
Yeah, he's a guy I think can handle a 30 carry a game workload.
Right.
And I think Tidehaven to win this game, he was going to have 30 carries.
Yeah.
But because they got down 2 scores, they kind of had to go away from him and put a little bit too much of the game on their sophomore quarterback. And then, the drops didn't help either. Tidehaven had several key drops. And not just drops, but drops in key moments.
Right, first downs or potential touchdowns,
those
things
kind of things,
that.
they dropped them. And if you're going to pull the upset, which Tidehaven was a significant underdog today, you have to be able to make those plays, and Tidehaven just didn't make enough of them tonight.
Yeah, I'll say this, because last on Tidehaven, but I wanted to finish with Gunter, of course. This is why this win was impressive to me, this game was impressive to me for Tidehaven, because I think this Gunter team might be their best team, right? And I think that's why Tidehaven being in this game for so long was so impressive to me, was because I've seen this Gunter team now. It was always them and Canadian in the semifinals for the past couple of years, and they wrecked Canadian in a way that Canadian, in the way that game had not been won by either team in a while.
Yeah, Gunter, I think, front to back this season, beginning to end, this was their most dominant season of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat Brock by 3 touchdowns earlier this year. That's a Brock team that's going 4A.
I was about to say, and they were in the semifinalists too.
So this was one of their best. Gunter's never a big team overwhelmingly. This was their fastest team. I think their most athletic team across the board. And then they had that leader at quarterback, Walker Overman. It's a true dynasty that's been built there in the Texoma region.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, Gunter Tigers. That's it for us from day 2. So we got the big schools big classifications coming up, I should say. And I mean, it's been a great crowd today. I mean, both 3A crowds really showed up. Helped that we had some, Gunter being one of the nearby town, but really good crowds, really good atmosphere, and closed out with really 2 competitive games, I'd say, for the most part.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought these 2 games, would be kind of blowouts. And they weren't. We had 2 great games today. Excited to see what happens tomorrow. East Texas will be in the house for the first 2 games.
Let's
so we
go.
think there'll be some big crowds for the 4A games tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. So keep it here for TexasFootball.com. We'll be here all week. DCTF on Twitter, everywhere social media. Stay tuned.